Hi there, Sandra here from Creating Spain and Siser Juliet Beginners to Pro. I'm doing a tutorial with the Siser Leonardo software because they've come out with a beta. Please be aware, beta does mean you might find some mistakes in here. There may be some bugs. I've imported a design from the library. It's just some cherries because I'm going to show you the line fill function on here. I have a circle down here, which is a 5.5 centimeter circle, I believe. And that is because that is the size, yeah, it is 5.5. That's the size of the acrylic disc that I've got that I'm going to be engraving. So the cherries here need to be resized before you set the engrave, okay? Because if you do it after you set the engrave, you're fine. If you do it before, you're going to really mess up the line spacing on this. So I think that will do round about fine. Yeah, that'll be okay. Now, important to note, this circle has been arranged so that it is, let's try and pick it up, helps if I got the select tool, so that it is arranged to be aligned to the page. Not the origin, but the page. Page left and page bottom. This is important. If you put it to origin, it's going to jump a millimetre or two before it starts doing its thing. And you don't want it to do that because you want to know exactly where it's going to engrave, all right? Once you've got this done, you can go to your settings. I've got my layers here. Let's come out of layers. Let's go to the colour picker because that's probably where you start off. Now I've got this here selected. That's this etch tool, which I don't want. I would want a cut on there normally. I obviously don't want it to cut because it's cut out already, but you get the gist. This one here, go down and you see the orange circle and you have etch tool, so you want that one and it changes the image for you. The options for the line fill are down here where the star is with the build contours. You notice that you've now got this one, click on that, and you have a range of patterns that you can use. And you can increase or decrease the gap size in there. You can use a different pattern, whatever you happen to feel like doing. Okay, so I'm just going to go for a hatch pattern, I think. So that's under a millimetre. I'm going to leave it at that because I just want to see how it turns out. I'm just doing a test run, okay. Now we can alter the angle. If you like what you've got, you can save it as a preset. You can change it from metric to imperial or vice versa. I don't want to keep the original image. And I do want to include the border. If you don't include the border, you don't get the outside line, right? So I want to include that and I go to accept. Now this turns it all orange and that indicates that it is on the etch tool. Send this design to the cutter. Now the important thing here, use current matte page location and go to send. And you can see that we have the two items, we have the cherries and we have the circle. And if I click on the circle, you can see that's exactly where it should be. And you can see that the cherries are not in that bottom left corner, they are where I placed them. Very important. So you want to uncheck the use cutter settings and you want to set whatever settings you want to do the engraving. I've got 12 for speed and a force of 60, and I am using the same type of tool as Siser sells. Got mine off AliExpress at Christmas and it cost me something like €12, but it was a packet with two tools in it. One is the engraving and the other one is the embossing, creasing, folding tool. So that's what I'm going to be using, and then you just want to send to cutter. But there is something that you want to do on the machine first, so I'm going to go to my live camera and show you what I do with the machine itself. What I've done is I've made sure that my piece of acrylic goes to the top of that tape there and to the side of that tape there, as close as I can get it. So I've got my disc set up on here. It's got double-sided tape underneath it. Now you'll notice that I've got these pink strips of tape. Now I've put this here partly because it's a nice visual reference and partly because I'm not using a map which has grid lines on it. So I need some point of reference on there in order to dictate where my starting point is going to go. So I'm going to move this back. Now I have my tool and I'll just show you what it looks like. It is identical to the one that Siser are now selling. So I have a ice cream stick. This is my usual spacer. It's what I've used, well, one similar to this, not the identical one, but I've used this sort of thing for years as a spacer when required. So it goes on top of the acrylic, and underneath this tool you just drop the tool in so that it hits it. Tool down in there, let it hit, just rest your finger on the top and then tighten it up and remove that. There we go, all done. The next thing I want to do is to set an origin point that is specific to this project, and I need to set it where the tape crosses, and to do that move it down to roughly where it's going to be. Go to settings, go to camera, click on OK. It will take a picture and you can clearly see on here this is my tape and that's where I need it to go. Just in there is where I need it to go. Now I have a little red cross and I need to move that red cross till it's in position, which it isn't at the moment. So move it up a bit. I think that is in the right place, so now I will tap OK. It's going to take another photograph, and those blue lines should be little sort of ant lines, as it were, should be where I want them to be, and they are where that tape crosses over. So I'm now going to press my home button and it's going to move to that exact position. So I'm going to go to my laptop and I'm going to send to cutter, and it's confirming that I'm using the etch tool. Click on OK and off it goes. I'm not going to show you the entire process, I'll come back when it's finished. Okay, so it's finished and I'm going to remove it now. So here's the finished article. They are engraved where they're supposed to be. They have a definite engraved feel to them. I could probably have decreased the line spacing, but as I said, this was just a test just to see how it came out. But the important thing is that you resize your image before you apply the line fill, and that you make sure it is in the right place when you etch it, because otherwise it's a complete waste of time. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.